We are the global community and the verifier of fair trade enterprises around the world. So we have members exhibiting across Ambiente. We have at 9.2 an exhibition that is demonstrating the products that our members are exhibiting. Please do stop by if you haven't gone through already. I'm going to now move on to our presentation. I'll speak for about 10 minutes, and then much more important and interesting people will speak for about 4 or 5 minutes each, and we can have some questions after that. So hopefully we can stay on track and you will all be riveted by the end. Is everyone excited? Wonderful. Okay, so we have just launched an exciting new report on new business models, on creating the new economy. And the reason we did this is for 30 years, the World Fair Trade Organization and its members have been pioneering a business model that puts people and planet first. They holistically practice fair trade, but what is unique is that they have built a whole business around this. They have built a whole business around an obsession with making sure that people are better off. And that is a huge idea in the times that we're in. We did this research together with Professor Bob Doherty from the University of York, Professor Helen Paul from the University of Cambridge, Dr. Simon Croft, Stockholm Environment Institute, myself from the WFTO, and also Tom Wills from Tradecraft. And what we did was, we did a very deep dive into what these enterprises look like, what is unique about them. We talked to 62 different enterprises and looked at the structures of their business model, what makes them unique, what makes them different. We also looked at very detailed case studies as well. So this is breaking new data into the conversation of the future of business, and the full report can be found at wfto.com/join the business revolution, because that's what we're doing here together. So firstly, why is it a business revolution? How is this different to business as usual? Well, if you look at the mainstream business community, what the real obsession there is to maximize profit, make as much money as possible. I can do the right thing if I make more money from doing the right thing. And what we have as a result is growing inequality, growing income and wealth inequality around the world where people are left behind. We've also got our planet suffering, as the planet is really struggling to continue to hold the kind of growth and the kind of profit growth that is necessary with these business models. But what we found in looking at the business models of the World Fair Trade Organization community is really 4 key facts. Firstly, we found that because they put people and planet first, where their profits go is also to people and planet. For 92% of our members around the world, they reinvest 100% of their profits. We also found that by being a mission-led enterprise, what ends up happening is women are more likely to lead their businesses. And we have 2 such leaders here on our panel as well. But this is common. For the WFTO members, 52% are women. WFTO CEOs, 52% are women. Who believes that this is more than the mainstream economy? Would you believe me if I said that 9% of CEOs in the mainstream economy are women, whereas in WFTO members, 52% are women? This is a huge contrast. The third that we found, and I'm going to skip to the bottom one and then come back to the resilience point, is that for 85% of WFTO members, they are navigating constantly between choices that will increase profits and choices that are better for people and planet. And that is really critical to be able to focus on those sorts of choices that are better for people and planet. And what is absolutely remarkable and probably the most surprising fact for me was that by putting people and planet first, by reinvesting majority of their profits into their social mission, by ensuring women leadership is much higher than mainstream business, WFTO companies are 4 times more resilient. They hang on. They work harder to hang on. They're stubborn. They don't give up in their business model, so they're 4 times more likely to continue to do business than a mainstream business that might actually say, look guys, this is not worth the effort. A few quick case studies, and you can see these in the report at wfto.com/join the business revolution. Mellisa, Uruguay was one of the ones we featured. It's owned by 12 women producer cooperatives across Uruguay. Now, these guys have become suppliers to mainstream brands, but also have opened up their own very chic, very effective, very commercially savvy retail outlet in Uruguay. And they're doing well. Their sales are growing, and they're able to reach new markets and the kind of products that ethical consumers are demanding. WFTO, another member based in Nepal, was another deep case study that the researchers from University of York, University of Cambridge, and Stockholm Environment Institute looked at. And what they found was that there was something unique about the governance model of this enterprise. That yes, 100% of profits went to the social mission, but the board also was 100% women and represented the workers and the producers. Can you imagine a regular business? The board that is composed is actually the people that are making the products. It shapes the decisions of the business, it shapes the priorities of the business. Now, another surprising fact that the research unveiled was that by being mission-led, by having a governance structure, an ownership model, a profit reinvestment model that is putting people and planet first, that there were innovations going on in ecological side as well. So you will see, actually, if you walk around the halls of 9.2 and 9.3, many of these examples in Ambiente. For instance, Chaco, who's sitting with many WFTO Africa and Middle East members, who are cleaning the beaches and turning this into a product line that is selling, that is able to excite consumers, excite ethical consumers with a product line that is both good for people, good for planet, and has chic new products. You've got Called the Jute Works, as well as many other members of the WFTO community using natural fibers like jute, for instance, or bamboo. You've got across the board, and these examples you will hear very common as well, is handmade production. Now, handmade production is not only low CO2, in some cases it's zero CO2. Instead of operating a big machine, you've got people both benefiting from the livelihood, but also not emitting carbon. You've also got examples from Sri Lanka, like rice and curry, that is taking plastic from the local bays and the waterways and turning that into new products. You've got upcycling examples like Village Works, who are also exhibiting here, turning different grain sacks and different kinds of sacks into new bags and products. You've got Calypso and Green Glass in Chile doing the same thing, picking up glass and turning that into new products. So this innovation of saying, how can we turn an environmental problem into a solution that helps both people and planet is happening because of the way these business models are set up. Now, a few unique factors of fair trade enterprises or WFTO members is that, firstly, they don't pick and choose where they do fair trade. They are built to do fair trade everywhere. They do it with all of their suppliers. They do it in all of their operations. They embrace fair trade in everything they do. This is different. So you will see some certification marks that are only about the cotton, only about one factory, only about one product, only about one supply chain. For a fair trade enterprise, they cannot pick and choose. They are doing fair trade everywhere it's possible to do fair trade. And this is a huge idea. It takes a different kind of business to make this happen. They go places that other people don't, and they prioritize people other people don't. They are going into some of the war zones. They're going into refugee camps. They're going into very marginalized communities where a regular business will say, it's not worth the effort. It's not worth the investment. It's not worth my time. The returns aren't high enough. But they do it because that is their mission. That's how the business is set up. And they are livelihoods focused. So the products are from all over the world. This is a little bit of a map that shows proportionately the makeup from around the world. And walking around various parts of Ambiente, you will see those WFTO members that are exhibiting, making all kinds of products. Because it really doesn't matter what you're making or what you're trading, it's why you're doing it, what's in your heart as a business, and how you have then set that enterprise up to prioritize people and planet. So that's all from me. We have many more interesting examples here. So I'm going to move first to you, to Mellisa from Gone Rural in Swaziland. If you want to grab a microphone and tell us a little bit about your enterprise and your products and how your business model is enabling this people and planet mantra, Mellisa.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Maybe try the other microphone.
They both don't seem to work.
Okay, why don't you come here? This one works.
Hello, my name is Mellisa Mazingi, and I'm the Managing Director of Homeland in Swaziland. Homeland is a social enterprise working with over 780 rural women to produce contemporary handcrafted basketry. All of our products are made by hand. They're woven in the homesteads of the women we work with. So we provide home-based income to the women, which is a much more sustainable form of income than a factory model in the context that we work, because it allows the women to not only earn income, but also take care of their responsibilities at home, and also works within the cultural context of Swaziland, which is a very patriarchal society as well. So all of our products are woven by hand, and in addition, all of our products either use natural fibers or upcycled materials. So the baskets that you see are made of Tuzi grass. That's a wild mountain grass that grows in Swaziland. We also use offcuts from local t-shirt factories to produce products like the art bowl that's shown on this slide. And that's one of the ways in which we're taking products that might otherwise be ignored or go to waste and creating something beautiful with those products. The social mission that we aim to drive is creating a source of income and economic empowerment for the women that we work with. Conrul was founded in 1992, and one of the most powerful statistics is that 86% of the women we work with feel completely secure in their relationship with Conrul. But over the last 3 years, we've been aiming to take it a step further. We want to create a next step for the women we work with to be able to grow beyond the artisan. So we've been running 2 programs over the last 2 years. The first is the Conrul Weaving Academy, and that program is aimed to train skilled weavers in teaching and facilitation skills so that they can become handcraft teachers. They can pass their skills on to other women, and they can pass their skills on to the next generation of weavers. And that's also important for cultural preservation, because the skills that the women have is something that's very important to the cultural heritage of the country as well. So the products that you see, the 3 products I brought with me, are actually made by the teachers from the Conrul Weaving Academy, and that brings me on to the next project, which is the Artisan-led Design Program. And that is about training women in product design skills to draw up their creativity and their confidence to be able to create products inspired by their own lives, their own stories, their own communities, their own families. And so all of these products that the women have designed have personal stories. Some of those stories are about appreciating the natural landscape around them. Some of those stories are uplifting stories about community. Some of those stories are heartbreaking stories about family. But it's incredibly powerful for women to have this creative outlet to be able to design products that reflect their own lives. And not only do the women earn the income from producing the products, but they earn royalties for those products into perpetuity. So it also improves the sustainability of our income generation by creating an added layer of income. I think my 45 minutes might be up. I could talk about Conrul all day, but thank you very much.
Yes, Tim, I think we might need to use this microphone. Questions come afterwards, yes.
Hello everyone, my name is Tim Strait. I am the founder of the Homeland Development Initiative Foundation of Homeland. That's what we call it, HDIF. We're located in Armenia. We are the only WFTO member in the entire former Soviet Union, unless Georgia has something going on. So we have quite a task there to bring fair trade to the former Soviet sphere. HDIF was started 7 years ago in a period of extreme poverty, stunting, emigration, and so I decided we had to do something about it. So what do we use as materials? We didn't have any locally produced yarn, we didn't have any locally produced natural materials that we could use. So we started off making very finely crocheted, handmade items, and we've had huge success with it. We, however, have used yarn that is A, imported, B, is synthetic. And we will continue to use up the yarn we have in stock because this is what we have established ourselves as in the market. But I can mention that during the day yesterday, two of our main clients in Germany, and Leila's at the back of the room, both mentioned that they would prefer to see our products in at least cotton and perhaps bio-cotton if possible. How will it accept how will it affect the price? How will it affect the look of the product because the quality of the yarn is different? And so we have lots of challenges in front of it. But we're prepared to take those challenges and do something positive with it to make our products more in line with the WFTO and environmental standards. So we've had huge success with these things, but we recently seen in Armenia much more access to, okay, it's still imported, but it is cotton on the yarn side. So we're going to try to do something about that. There is no locally produced, let alone bio-cotton in the country. But what we do have is raw wool. We have thousands of very fat sheep in Armenia, and they have wonderful wool. And so we've started using the wool that is from those sheep. And this is only a 3-month-old project. We just started this in October, November of last year, and have already sold thousands of these. They're nothing revolutionary in terms of design. They're nothing revolutionary in terms of main marketing of the product, but we see that we're able to produce a product using a locally sourced material. And the coloring of the yarn into reds and yellows and blues just started in Armenia in December. So this is extremely fresh, but we've already made a commitment to our board and to ourselves internally in the organization that in Ambiente next year, we're going to have at least 30% of our collection in this material rather than the synthetic yarn that we've imported, and even that will preferably be more of the cotton material. So we're really doing a complete turnaround of our collection in order to meet the environmental challenge that we're all in. And we're very thankful to WFTO for actually, and the customers, for kicking us in the behind and saying we have to do this. So it's about, it's right, but it's also about because the market wants it. So this combination is really pushing us in a very positive direction in terms of developing new and innovative products using traditional techniques and local circular economy material techniques. So, and then on these two particular items, for example, we're trying to take it a step further. The patterns on these two eggs are traditional embroidery patterns that are done by refugees from Syria, ethnic Armenians that left during the war in Syria, came to Armenia, and they're asking us to design products for them that use their traditional embroidery techniques. So this Marash embroidery, as it's called, is an example of using culture, ethnic, refugee, local materials, circular economy, and so forth and so on. And just to add another layer, we've gotten funding from a private foundation in Florida in the United States to do a massive training of a producer partner on supply chain management, which means price calculation, production planning, sourcing materials, the whole supply chain management to make the group sustainable. And yes, they're all female.
Wonderful. Thank you. And we're going to end with Selyna from Selyn, and maybe she can tell us why her name sounds so much like the name of the business.
Okay, so hi, I'm Selyna. I'm the second generation leader of my company, Selyn. My mother founded it. I came first. She didn't have to look far, she just named the company after me. So kind of stuck with it, but at the same time, I'm a lawyer by training and I work in the development world. And I chose to lead a social enterprise when most young people in my country choose to leave the country because there's no opportunity in Sri Lanka for younger people like me. So while we are a company that is in the traditional textile industry in Sri Lanka. We started as a purely hand-woven, hand-weaving, hand-loom company, but now we have progressed in the last 30 years to really hand-make all the things that you see. We export toys and we also engage around 1,000 women directly and indirectly in our area. So why Selyn? I mean, employing women, especially in a textile garment sector, is nothing unusual. But why Selyn is different is that not only do we believe in giving them access to work, we also give them the ability in terms with skills and the way we've set up our business model to make them remain at work. Especially these women who work with us are women who are at risk of migration into the Gulf areas as domestic workers, as unskilled workers. And I am a recent mom myself, and I think for the first time I realized how important it is for a woman to have things like childcare, flexible working hours, the ability to, drop your kid off in school, come do some work, pick your child up, go home. I mean, these things are not very common in a manufacturing setting where you have to meet targets, you have to meet efficiency levels, So we are running as a professional company, but we go out of our way to make sure that the people that we work for are comfortable and can stay at work. Because just because you have a job doesn't mean that you are empowered as a woman. So that is basically in a nutshell what we do in Sri Lanka. And one of the interesting things that I am spearheading in my company is how do I get women into the management? It's not just enough that my artisans are women. I need to make sure that there's a certain percentage of women in management, and that is not common in an Asian context where we really fall out of work because of childcare or looking after our parents. So on my KPIs of my heads of departments are you have to grow women into management levels. It's part of their performance appraisals, and it is something that they have to go out of their way to ensure that happens in my company. I'm the boss, so I can say these things. But it is the future, and it is what we believe in, So it's important that everyone who works with me does the same thing. So that's the story of my business. But with our product too, now we were traditionally toy makers. We are in fashion and make all kinds of things in Sri Lanka and also in the rest of the world. But I try to spread a message also with our product. Because with my export market, I am looking at touching children's lives. So this is a toy, a house that is to save the bees. It is a very relevant topic in Europe right now. I mean, all over the world, if there's no bees, we don't have a world to live in. So also with my product, I'm trying to spread that message of and the values that we believe in our company. So also, this is another product to save our earth. What can the child do? It's not just about understanding that the world is in a dangerous place. It's also what can you do as a child? Because if you influence children to really think differently and understand that they have a role in changing this world, there you go. We're going to have a better world. And because we are in the textile industry, this is all made with cotton, made with hand. Our company is zero waste. We use even the threads that are fallen on the ground to make jewelry. These things are just things that are cut off from our garments. So because the fabric is expensive, so there's always a business case for doing this. It's not just because the necklace is pretty, it's also because I want to get rid of my waste, right? And I want to make sure that this fabric that is so expensive is generating some money into the company. So, long and short, that is what we do. And this is our 2020 catalog, completely dedicated to our earth. And I was very happy to be at the Nuremberg Toy Fair and realize that our toys are exactly in trend. And but the challenge for us fair traders, and because our business model also means that we are expensive because we don't compromise. The challenge is now, how do we get our product into the markets, into the mainstream markets to remain efficient, to remain profitable, without being washed away by the greenwash that will come because this is trendy now, right? So the fair trade community has a very strong responsibility to think, how do we remain sustainable, how do we remain profitable in order to do what we do, which is really try to make a better world. So that's it, I think. 45 minutes up.
So as you can see, these are some of the most inspiring businesses anywhere in the world. I would challenge you to find others that meet this level of dedication to their community, to their planet, to their ecology, and to their producers. And this is something that is also increasingly on trend. So we're delighted that we have such a strong showing at Ambiente here again this year that is really showcasing this. So do have a look at the brochures. There's one with that's got the dark blue outline around it, where you can see all of our members that are exhibiting across the show. Some of them are in the room, like we have Mitra Bali in the room, we have Puente in the room, so there is definitely quite a few of them to go and discover, and I'm sure that you will be absolutely riveted by their products, by their story, and by their future. So thank you for joining us. If we have a couple of questions, we can probably take one round of questions, Aaron. Okay, let's do that. Does anybody want to kick off? It's always a little bit awkward, and maybe we can try again with the microphone so that you guys don't have to jump up and down to answer questions. Any questions from the floor? Who's going to be the courageous first person? I'm going to give 3 more seconds of awkward silence. If not, we can, yeah?
I can ask the first question.
Okay, you can ask the first question.
What kind of technology are you doing?
I don't know.
Hello? Well, my question was because you just brought up the topic of greenwashing. What do you do to protect your business? And in actual factual measurements or whatever exercises, I mean, you want to phrase that, to protect your business against greenwashing?
Can I answer?
What do you do?
I think you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm loud enough. So, number one, I think intellectual property protection, that is something that companies like us, we do need to look into. It's an expensive process, but there are global laws that can or maybe should be reformed to help craft and help people like us, because it is an expensive process and it's not always economical to be doing that for every product, right? So if there's a product that I truly believe in, like my bees, I should be doing that, and companies should be thinking along those lines. And also, I think we have an opportunity that the world before us never did, and that is to reach the customer directly via the World Wide Web. So your social media, our Instagrams, our Facebook, we need to be on point. Like we need to be making sure that our stories are heard, that we claim it, that we need to be using some influencers who understand our product and believe in our ethos to really spread the word. So I think that is really, I would love to hear if anyone has any ideas, because it would be really great to know.
That's Selyna.
But, yeah.
The product label.
Okay, yes, of course, and the WFTO product label. So that does differentiate us from everyone else. So part of responsibility of the fair trade community too, because I don't want to pass the burden to the customer, because change begins from you. So we as a community need to understand how do we make sure that there's a premium attached to our product in the world. Like with the customer. It doesn't matter what we do, all these things, people don't care generally. They just really don't, and it's really sad realization for people like us who've been doing this for so long, seeing my mom do it for so long. I'm sure it's the same for all of you. But finally, that's what it is. So we just need to make it very attractive, very sexy, and protect ourselves.
And I found a very funky feature on PowerPoint that allowed me to circle the WFTO product label as you were speaking, Selyna. So only those that are the most committed to fair trade, that are truly dedicated to people and planet, only those will have that product label on. So if you see any of this, on any of the products, and you'll see many of them around the show. That's the highest level of commitment you can really have to people and to planet.
And last point, we need you, the media, to talk about us. You know, to believe that this is what's important, and also this is, we just need you to believe that. Right, Erinch?
Absolutely. I think they do. I think I can see the faces lighting up as you're giving your response. Tim and Mellisa, anything to add about, I guess the core of the question is, how do you stand out in this crowded, ethical marketplace? People making claims, all sorts of claims about what they're doing, but you guys are doing the real deal.
I'm a product person, and if your product isn't good enough, you're doomed. You have to have a product that is right for the market on price, on quality, on everything. I want to kill all sympathy purchases. I hate going into a shop, any kind of shop, and see people buy, oh, it's a disabled person who made it, or oh, it's a woman in this country that made it. Quality products is the first thing to focus on, and then you can tell it.
And I would just add that I think we're in a uniquely powerful place with the authenticity of our brands. I think in such a crowded marketplace, the consumer is looking for authenticity. I think in such a quickly evolving world, the consumer is looking for authenticity. And so if we are able to portray the authenticity behind our brand in a strong and compelling enough way, and that goes back to that marketing, and that goes back to being not only brave enough to tell our stories, but bold enough to tell our stories until everybody listens, because we have incredibly authentic and powerful stories to share.
Authenticity, products, and product label are, I think, three very strong answers that came out of this. Anyone want to ask a final question? Oh yeah, we have two. We have one and then two.
Well, I mean, you guys are selling to B2B or B2C normally, I think it's B2C, to the both. Because I wonder if you could produce your product to enough to, I mean, for the kids to compare to the factory content, produce your products for mass product. So are you able to product and to produce? Yes.
I think it's a volume question.
Produce
With the
price,
volume.
quality, price, quality.
I can answer that. For Gone Royal in particular, we're very much able to fulfill large orders. I think, again, that speaks to the long-standing nature of the social enterprise and the fact that our women are incredibly talented and very good at what they do. And so we are able to produce for department stores. We even produce for some big box stores that are coming around to the idea that they need to source more sustainably. And the WFTO label is an important thing for us to be able to reach those consumers, because when it comes to ethical sourcing, especially for those larger stores and those larger retailers, having the WFTO label automatically symbolizes that we take a certain standard of social and environmental sustainability. And so, coupled with our production capacity and the gravitas of the WFTO label, we're able to reach those larger consumers.
And the same for us. We are able to produce that because we are manufacturing craft for all intents and purposes. But we also speak to our customers and say, look, give us the lead time necessary to give you the volume. Because it's a two-way street, right? When you're trying to make something happen, a business revolution, you need your customer also to understand you. So you say, okay, don't give me 2 months. This is handmade. I mean, come on. You know, give me, understand me, help me to help the others. So I think we need to start having those conversations with bigger department stores, with the volume first, because they make their decisions early. So just convey it to us early, so we can start our production early.
No, we're very fortunate that we have over 200 women employed, and it's not nearly enough. And so it is difficult for us to do volumes, but and that is not a how many women know how to crochet question. That is a who's going to administer those producer groups out in the smaller places in the country. It's an administrative issue that we are working very hard to solve, because you can have some very good crocheters, but if there's nobody coordinating the production planning and the quality control of the time they deliver, then this is another one of our challenges, and we're working very hard on that. We have a budget that is 90% increase in our export this year. We increased 300% last year. We're growing like mad. We need to keep our production capacity growing with that.
We have a question over here.
Yeah, my question goes to our I'm from Nepal actually. My print media named and are you visiting Nepal too?
I can answer that one. So there's a group of WFTO members that have come together to exhibit some of the finest handmade and natural fiber products up there. So they are, I think, in 9.3. You'll find them. 9.3. Also here we have a guide to all the WFTO members that are exhibiting here. There's a group from Nepal that are some of our finest handmade producers. There are too many WFTO members for me to talk about all of them, unfortunately, because they're all as wonderful as each other, but I was hoping that photo will get people's interest as well. But most importantly, have a look at this, because this is your guide to the best stuff going on in the show. Final question from anybody? If not, we can wrap up. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Oh, yes, we've got the young man in the back.
I'm Agung from Bali, Indonesia. I would like to hear from you a little bit, especially Selyn, because you work with thousands of people, local people. How the role of your government? I would love to know about the government role to support your company, because this is such a great initiative, you know. Do you have the same problem with us? We in Bali or in Indonesia, no support from government at all. So it's difficult to enter because they have their inner circle with among the oligarch, you know. Sometimes, you know, we don't need support, but sometimes we love to introduce the veteran in local level too, you know. This is a very good initiative, but it's difficult to explain to them. They just want profit like that. Thank you.
I mean, we do have government support for exporters. We don't have necessarily government support for fair traders. I mean, I used to work in the government and I'm in front of media, so yes, you can quote me, but I decided that no, the private business model is what's going to work. So the government does support us as exporters into the country, but if you want to spread fair trade into the communities, it is really spearheaded by us. It's spearheaded by people that we have connected with. We have an amazing network called the Good Market in Sri Lanka, which has over 500 vendors who are all going through a participatory guarantee system that we've created to ensure that all their products are ethically sourced, fair trade, all of that. So, I mean, the community in Sri Lanka, like, we have really got together and we are just saying, you know, I'm just trying to think of a nice way to say it. Government too. So, I mean, yeah, it's very community-led. Like, we are really taking the ownership because we are done waiting for government to, you know, do things for us.
I mean, I'd just add to that I think social enterprise is a few miles ahead of government. Social enterprise is, one might argue, doing things that government should be doing. And so I think in as much as we ask for government support, we also need to support government to be able to catch up with these innovative business models and let government know what we need. You know, what kind of trade terms do we need government to be advocating for on our behalf? You know, and so I think it's really a two-way street. As much as we do very much need support from government, we also must recognize that as social enterprise, we are actually a step ahead. We need to be feeding into government's policies and having that spread beyond our social enterprise or our craft bubble and really become more of a national policy as well.
Tim.
My approach is a little bit different. We get 0% from the government. All we want is an even playing field. We don't want to be treated specially. We want to win the market based on our quality, on our price, on our delivery, on our communication. and not by tilting the playing field towards us. That's the only way that we can really implant and educate and give experience to our producer partners, is by having them perform as best as they can in order to compete in the market. We're not asking for subsidies. We're not asking for, but yes, we are working on the legal framework voluntarily with the government, the Ministry of the Economy, with the Small and Medium Enterprise Institute. We're working on PayPal that doesn't exist. We're trying to bring institutional improvements hand in hand with the government where we can.
So these guys have all set up businesses in some of the most difficult places in the world to set up a successful business, and they're making it work. And we have written this report, WFTO.com, Join the Business Revolution, to highlight the challenges that we are throwing at government. So we do have recommendations to the government, but as well as to investors and to companies that are sourcing from these sorts of fair trade enterprises. Selyna, it looks like you want to say something. Okay, good. You're agreeing strongly with this. So I'm wrapping up now, and I'll get out of your way so you can go and visit all of these wonderful enterprises that are exhibiting across the show. We're proud to have them, support them, and be inspired by them. Thank you all.